can see these two sets of rims in front of me, and by the title, I'm pretty sure you guys can guess what's going on. So, in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the NS1507 to TE37s, and you'll be like, Jake, you only have the NS1507 and a stock Lexus wheel that you painted teal. Well, that is part of the comparison. I'm going to let you know why. So, this is to be our stock wheel. This is a stock 17-inch IS250 all-wheel drive wheel. It is quite heavy to lift up, and it's quite annoying to lift up, I will mention. And then this one is a much lighter 18-inch wheel, which is already at an advantage because if this was the 18-inch wheel, it would be heavier than it already is. So it gives us more a stock wheel to custom wheel basis. Now to lay down the facts in the beginning, here's the things we know. The average tire weighs about 25 pounds. In the case of the Lente DH2, which is a tire I run on my Lexus, that weighs 24.9 pounds. And we're going to use the regular basis because these are just some cheap tires that came on the car when I bought it. Venezia, whatever's, we're going to say those are 25 flat. So we're going to take these rims, we're going to weigh it on a postage scale, which I have right behind me. And we're going to see how much each rim weighs by doing the math, and also why you should switch to this rim instead of, say, a TE37 and spending around $2 grand or $3 grand, or just to switch rims in general because these are amazing and cheap. To start off is kind of my review of these rims. I will do a separate review as well, but I've had them for almost 2 years. They have not cracked, they have not bent. The weights have not come off, even though it's not necessarily the rim. That is because I got them from Car ID, and Car ID balance these super well, so shout out to them. They look fantastic. There's no chips in the paint at all. They were powder coated from factory as bronze. I plastic dipped them recently because I want my wheels to be white. I'm questioning if I should send them out to be powder coated or I'm going to try auto dip for the white because the white matches my car much better. And I don't care if it's permanently white because these are just such beautiful rims. And then here are the stock rims. They're heavy, cumbersome. They look okay. They looked a lot worse when they were in the stock paint because they had a huge gash in the top front of it that I sanded down and made it look pretty. These are just decorative, and I've had them in my room for a while. There's not much to say about them. They're both the same width, even though this is a 17, this is an 18, and they're about the same height as well. So I'm really curious to see the weights, because I actually did weigh this one already, but I'm going to weigh it on camera for you guys to see, so you guys know exactly how much it weighs. And then I'm going to weigh this one as well. And just by lifting them, this one is really heavy. And then this one feels so much lighter. Like, it's insane. I can just fucking lift it on my shoulder with ease, even though I did just roll it up my body, and it's no big deal. These feel so nice and light, even with a 25-pound tire on them. So I'm going to go put these on this little scale right here, and let's see how much they weigh. So here is our little scale. I'm going to make sure there's nothing on it right here, which you guys can probably see. I'm going to hit the on button, let it zero out, just so this is as scientific as possible, and as you guys can see, we're at 0. So now I'm going to grab our first wheel, which is the stock Lexus one. This big, cumbersome bastard. So this is the same weight I got inside. I'm going to try and stretch it up so you guys can see. I got 45.5 for this stock wheel. Now, keep in mind, I've actually started this video before actually knowing what the weights are. I knew this one 45.5 by testing it inside just like maybe 20 minutes ago. So, which surprised me because it feels like it's 80 pounds. It feels ridiculous. But I think it's just because it's not very balanced. Because the one thing I noticed between these rims, they're the same offset, but these ones lean forward very heavily, while the NS1507s are perfectly balanced. They don't lean forward. They don't lean backwards, they're just upright. Just perfectly. I don't get it, but they're just upright. Which this could be at the fault of that there are not any weights on it balancing it, but still, it's heavy. And let's grab our NS1507, which I have plastic dipped. So the weight savings are not as amazing as I thought, but there still is some weight savings here. You gotta remember, these rims are an inch bigger, which means there are more metal in these rims to make them bigger. And that fact is something you should remember when you read this number and find out it's 5 pounds lighter. Now, being that they are still the same diameter in total, including the tire on the other rim would weigh about the same, which is the 25 pounds. So, if that one is 45 pounds, that means that rim is 20 pounds at a 17-inch rim. Then, we look at these rims. These are an 18-inch rim, which are slightly bigger, and they are 15 pounds. Well, 15.1 pounds. So you're saving 5 pounds on your rim. And that may not seem a lot, but then there's 4 rims. So if you're saving 5 pounds per rim, that means you save 20 pounds off your car by switching to rims that are cheaper than stock ones. So then you might be asking yourself, okay, you just compared your stock rim to this rim. So how much does the TE37 weigh? Well, Volk TE37, just a standard one, weighs 20 pounds. So this rim that is $100 is 5 pounds lighter. So you might be asking yourself entirely, and I keep saying this, but then how come this cheap rim is so light compared to a stock Volk one? And we're not comparing the SLs, which are the super lights, we're just comparing the standards. And that is because that rim was designed in the 90s. And that's purely why I tried to make this video, because even if you want that style, you don't actually have to go the route of Volk. Yes, it is a bigger name brand and is much cooler, but NS has its own pedigree. Now, such a small brand actually has a lot of drift drivers behind it. They have a whole list if you go on their website, which I will link down below because I am in love with these rims and I am not sponsored by them whatsoever. I'd love to be sponsored. If they would sponsor me, that would be great. But I'm not sponsored. Their rims are so cheap, I actually plan on using them when I drift later in either this year or next year with my drift car that I'm going to buy. So I'm really astounded by how great these rims are. Yes, they're not TE37s and there are some minor differences, including if you look at the front of these rims have little dimples. Those TE37s do not have dimples in the front. They do not have a universal pattern like these. They are built for your specific pattern because they are a more expensive rim. But the rest of this is similar. You still have the same little lip on the outside. The spokes are identical. The placement of the valve stem and the legal logos are very identical. Instead of it saying Volk Racing Made in Japan on every single one, they did leave these two blank. It says monoblock here, which the Volks do, and these are monoblock rims. It says Racing on the top of the rim, and then it says WKS Engineering. Now, I don't know what WKS Engineering is. Maybe it is Work Sport or something. I don't know. But I do know NS is owned by XIX, so I don't know what WKS Engineering necessarily is, but these are amazing rims. Also, the Volk TE37s do not have a center cap, so they'd be without this, which the center cap is one of the hardest ones to push out. I can't even push it out by hand. And it doesn't have this kind of raised lip in the center, so they're not identical to TE37s, but they do have the same 6-spoke style that many people love, and these are dirt cheap. This current setup right here for one wheel, these rims average between $100 and $120. Then these tires are about $50 on sale, which I've seen on a few places on sale because they're so popular they keep getting stock of them. And these tires are actually really, really good. Especially in wet conditions, you can have a lot of fun with these tires, dry conditions, whatever. And this whole combination was all just luck when I bought them. When I bought them, I was like, you know what, these rims look cool. I had no clue what a Volk TE37 was. And I was like, you know what, I wanted Lexani tires, and the guy at Car ID called and he was like, you don't want those. You want the Delinte tires. They're cheaper and they are amazing. So I listened to the guy at Car ID, and I'm so glad I did when I got these tires, because not only do they have an amazing tread wear life where they can keep going for a really long time. Just look, I've been driving on these for 2 years, and look how much tread I have left. It's ridiculous. And you may not believe a 4-wheel drive 2.5-liter Lexus can do burnouts, but it can. Very small ones, but you'll hear me chirping the tires, you'll hear me sliding that car, and these tires are fine. So I have grown very accustomed to these tires and these rims, and I do want to announce that when I begin drifting, whether it's this year or next year, I will be using NS rims because of how cheap they are and how good they are, purely just because how cheap they are. If they were cheap and they were crap, I would still use them. But they're cheap and they're good. I feel like I could hit a big bump on a track, I can go off track, and these will be fine. And then the Delinte tires, they're so cheap. 50 bucks a tire is ridiculously cheap. And they have a great tread wear, which alone would be great for drifting, but they also grip really well, so it makes your car more predictable. Now a little bit more on these rims. These are part of the tuner spec. They are not actually the drift spec rims, although I will probably be drifting with tuner spec rims. They do make stronger rims that are drift spec, and you'll see on their sites, and you can also find them on Car ID and other places to buy them. These are tuner spec, they're really strong, and I want to try them with drifting. I've seen people drift with them. Not many popular people, just because this brand is so small yet. But these rims are just so good, and I love them so much. So my recommendation, if you're doing a show car, then you're probably not going to want to do NS unless you're trying to make a statement. But for an everyday car, there's no way you could go wrong with these rims. They hold up super well. I know this is what I grew my channel on, is these rims. Before I knew anything about cars, and I ended up being so lucky to get this set of rims, this specific set of rims that are so good and so strong for such a low price. Especially light, like seriously. Up on my shoulder, even though you guys can't see, you can listen to my crotch. So I know I've been talking a lot, but I just really wanted to show off these rims because I really do love these rims, and I just feel so lucky that I ended up with these rather than some rims that would end up cracking. Especially with how many big potholes there are in New York, and I just drove over them. They hurt when you're in the car, but the rims are still perfect. And that says something about these rims. So I just wanted to put this out there, let you guys know as kind of a buyer's guide. You don't need TE37s to have that look or quality. Now, yes, the TE37s would be a slightly higher quality, and they would have much more reputation as being a better rim, but these are kind of your stealthy, behind-the-scenes rims that you don't really care who knows what they are, and they look fantastic. And I want to leave you guys on that. So comment down below what you'd rather have. Either the equivalent cost of TE37s and NS rims, which is probably a lot, because it'll cost, let's just say, about $3,000. I think I looked at their site. I think it was the Hunt Quarters I looked at, and it was like $3,000, maybe even $4,000. And then a set of these would cost you about $450. I'm gonna do that math right now. So would you rather have 8 sets of these rims or 1 set of raised TE37s? That's something to think about. You can buy 8 sets of these for the cost of TE37s. What? That is insane. I didn't even think of that before. So I want you guys to let me know down below. Would you rather have 8 sets of 4 of these rims or 1 set of TE37s? That is insane. Alright, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and be legendary. Stop till we're